We're on Yemmi, and I promise I will cut it at any point. Right. First of all, tell us about your first experience down the Reno.
My first experiences were actually of going down there on a weekend when I was probably about 12 years old, washing glasses, and that sort of gave me my pocket money for the week. So that was my first experiences.
So when did you go down to work as a barmaid?
Later on, maybe in about 1975, possibly.
Which makes you about... Okay, yeah.
Could be 75. Could have done it sooner. I'm just not good with dates.
Tell us some of your experiences as a barmaid in the Reno.
I've worked with a lovely guy called Lloydie. We had so many laughs, so much fun. He was just always had a smile on his face. A really lovely guy. Linda used to come and work at weekends.
Linda Joanda.
Yeah. I couldn't remember her second name, but yeah, I think she came and did weekends, mainly when it was busy, Friday, Saturday, possibly Sunday night when it was the busiest.
Did you make many tips?
Yeah, I made a fair amount actually.
Who was your best tipper?
Best tipper. Frank was always quite generous, Frank Pereira, and he always used to make me laugh. He always used to stand to the side of the bar where you would actually, the door was to get in. He'd always be in that corner behind there dancing away. Always smartly dressed. Yeah, I remember. He was really generous. I remember he gave me a gold ring with rubies in it.
As a tip?
No. He just gave it me. I can't remember why.
Oh.
But I remember he gave me that ring.
That's a proper Frank thing.
Yeah, and I kept it up until about 5 years ago, and I gave it my sister Beulah. I can't remember. She liked it, and so I gave it her because it was quite a small ring, and I could only wear it on my baby finger.
Yeah.
So she had smaller fingers than me, and I gave it to her.
Oh, have you got it back now?
No, unfortunately.
I believe. Oh no. Tell us about your favourite customers besides Frank.
Can't think of any.
Right, you was telling me about your Stan Finney experience.
Oh, that's Stan. He definitely wasn't a favourite customer. He used to have a running joke whenever he came in. He'd just say, "You're all right, ugly." It was just his nickname for me. I can't remember what I used to call him, but I'll have to ask him since he seems to have a really retentive memory.
Yeah. Ask him what your reply was.
Yeah. I remember from a behind the bar perspective. We used to have a bell that was under the counter, and it was connected to the door upstairs. So like if plainclothes police were coming in, the bell would ring and we could let customers who might be on the bar rolling up the spliffs know police are coming, you might want to go somewhere else, sort of thing.
Whose idea was the bell and how did you put it in?
It was likely my dad's idea.
Yeah.
But I don't remember when it went in. It was always there.
Right.
So sort of maybe when they'd clocked off for the night after hours and they wanted somewhere to go, they'd come down the Reno, and my dad was on first name terms with quite a few of them.
Right. I remember him having drinks at the bar on a regular thing though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, what I mean is, I was just picturing the wiring. Where was the wiring? How did they wire it from the bar all the way? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it would have been a physical wire that ran all the way around the top of the bar, along the floor, up the stairs, to the little booth.
Who was the handyman who used to do work in there?
Oh, there was a few. I think there was one called... Was Roy, maybe?
I don't know.
I've got a rubbish memory, to be quite honest.
Yeah. No, I was just picturing somebody, right, with those little tacks that you tack something to the, tacking that wire all that journey.
Don't know, did it?
Yeah, I was just wondering who it is. What you have, right, I believe you were the cleaner.
I was for a while, I wasn't all the time. Later down the line, at least for the last sort of 5 years of it opening, I did do cleaning down there. I used to sort of, when I'd go in, make sure I banged the doors a bit because there were rats in there. So I wanted to make sure that they'd sort of scatter when I got in. I hated them. But anyway, yeah, there were rat holes, and they just go down these holes, and which a lot of them would end up upstairs to the next sort of yard up the fire escape. And then that's where I used to have to put the rubbish out, and it was in sort of a next... I don't know what it was that was next door. Maybe it was a cafe. I wonder if the rats came from there.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
They ran in that direction. And,
Shorties, go on.
Could be because of the cafe, maybe the food.
Yeah.
So I put the rubbish out there, and I remember there was in the yard there were like these cats, and the cat had kittens, and I didn't know at the time, but obviously they were feral cats, and I spent weeks trying to catch a kitten because I thought they were so cute, but I just couldn't catch one. They were too fast.
Oh. What was it? One? Was it like a few rats or like loads of rats?
It was more than one or two, but I'm not talking, hundreds or 50s, but, a good few. And they were pretty big. They were massive.
Were they?
Yeah. I remember my dad came down there with me once, and I don't know why he came, and then this rat ran out, and I don't know how, but he actually caught it, and I was in shock, and he just slammed it down on the floor.
Give the rat a body slam.
Yeah, probably the rat was drunk. He'd probably been drinking beer in there, and probably that's how he got to caught it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was a Reno rat.
Yeah.
Drunk off special brew, and he's caught it.
Yeah, you bitch, take that.
He just slammed it, and I was like, oh.
Did he kill it?
Yeah, it's splattered.
Wow. Do you know what that's just reminded me of? Addy. Tell us about Addy.
Oh, Addy, yeah, he worked behind the bar as the glass washer. He was a jolly chap, a lot of teeth missing.
Oh, Addy.
But he used to drink a lot of the leftover drinks that was actually came in for glasses to be washed. So when whoever was collecting glasses, whether it was sheriff or whomever, there was another chap called Aubrey.
Yeah.
He used to collect glasses for a spell as well, and I'm sure there were others, but Addy used to, be getting drunk off these leftovers, and we'd have to say, me and Lloyd would be like, enough now, Addy.
Yeah, he used to start shouting though, didn't he? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, when he got really drunk, and then he'd start raving and shouting, and he'd always had this this one saying we used to laugh at him. He'd say, "Life is so peculiar."
Just proper remembered him with his coat.
With his long coat and the boots that looked 3 sizes too big for him, and they were, the boots were fatter than his poor little legs. He was really skinny.
No, he was. Addy Foo-Foo, we used to call him. Yeah. Tell us about Tony Pereira working on the door.
Yeah, I remember Tony work. I don't know how long it was. Maybe it wasn't a long time, but he used to always be up there, and he'd be always chewing gum. And I used to try and tell him it's no good for you. I don't know where I heard it from about if you keep chewing gum, you'll get ulcers. And anyway, he was having none of it. So I found some chewing gum in this joke shop. And what it did was it turned your mouth all blue. And I gave it to him on my way in, and then people soon started laughing because all his mouth and all his lips turned blue.
Did he not know?
He didn't know at the time, and then he went berserk at me when he found out what people were laughing at.
Oh no, man, because he had some lips, Tony, man.
He did.
To turn blue.
He did.
Yeah. Tell us about your experience as the manageress.
I managed the club on a couple of occasions when my dad had gone on holiday to Nigeria. So used to have to drive the van to cash and carry and, get all the certain drinks that we didn't get from the brewery. Be there for the brewery deliveries. Pay the wages. I remember he'd leave me a list of wages to pay out on a Sunday night. Just do everything, open up, close up. I remember thinking, we used to have this, he still always had and handed over to me. He used to have a black briefcase, with the float in, we called it, so he'd have all the change in that we might need for the night. And I was thinking when I was coming out of there, was someone going to rob me? But do you know what? I never got robbed, which is a miracle, really.
Wow,
when you
I never
think about it.
That.
Yeah, I'd sort of open the door, look left and right, and there was an entry not far away, so you never knew if someone could jump out of the entry, but,
Is this at the end of the night, Yemmi, you believe
at the end of the night, believing with the briefcase, that was obviously now had the takings in for the night, so I always worried,
And what was it like? The street was dead outside?
It was like early hours of the morning.
Oh my God, I've never thought about that.
Yeah, so I was always thinking, is someone going to, jump out and rob me in this brief? But it never happened.
Wow.
Never happened.
I wonder if that's because they consider you one of their own. Do you know what I mean? Because
I've never thought about why, but, obviously talking to you kind of prompted my thoughts, and I thought, it's pretty odd that I didn't get robbed, really.
No, because it's really easy pickings, isn't it?
Exactly.
And was you coming out on your own?
I probably would be coming out with Lloydie or
but just you and Lloydie still wouldn't have been
probably just two of us, possibly three at the time, but it could, more often than not, it'd probably just be two of us, whoever that other person might be.
Wow.
And it just never happened. But I always thought about it.
Did you get a taxi or drive home?
No, I used to drive the van.
Yeah.
Drive the van home, never took a taxi. I drove
That's
from
really
an
made
early
me
age.
think that, yeah. Did your dad pay for you to drive? To go with the club idea?
Driving. I started driving when I was like 15 years old. I mean, I know I shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But my dad used to have this little purple mini Clubman, and I was saying to him one night when we were leaving, I said, Dad, can I drive the car home? And he's like, can you drive? And I said, yeah. And I just jumped in, and I'd always been watching him driving. Right. And I drove.
You drove all the way home? I
drove home. And then after that, when he used to send me on, if obviously he figured, all right, she can drive, he'd send me on errands, or he'd send me, he was a big betting man.
Right.
He used to put bets on at the bookies at least 5 days a week, so he'd send me to the bookies with his bets, and I'd go and I'd get driving practice, just driving around the streets.
Without a licence.
Without a licence.
Man, it was the 70s though, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then I passed my test as soon as it was legal. I passed my test at
17, yeah. Wow.
I've been driving since.
You didn't tell me the story about the wages. Go on, tell us the story about the wages that you told me before.
I remember when the first time he left me to manage, and he was like, right, here's the list of wages, who gets paid what. And I remember seeing Persians, and it was a fair bit more than anyone else's, and it was more than I was getting. I was like, hold on, Dad, you know, he can't be getting paid more than me, and I'm the manager, so I insisted I got paid the same. I'm not going to mention any amounts, and I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I couldn't really argue with it, could it?
No.
So that did me a favour, that I got an increase for managing.
Was it much of an increase?
Yeah, it was a fair amount. It's probably treble more than anyone else's.
Hell, man.
So I'm not going to go into any figures, but I was, you know, in them days I thought, well, you know, that's
enough. Triples enough.
He was worth it. He was the DJ, and he was playing and bringing customers in. You know, they wanted to come and listen to him play.
Yeah.
And other people, you know, like Cooley, and there were various others, and even my brother Moses, my younger brother, at some point had a stint at it. There was loads, but my memory's not, you know, massively great, so yeah. And the other thing, when I used to do the cleaning, I used to find handbags all the time, stuffed down the back of the men's toilets. I figured, all right, you know, some poor woman's been robbed. Do you know what I mean? And her handbags in the toilets.
What did you do with them, Yemmi, the handbags?
Curiosity, obviously I looked in to see if there was any money, but I can honestly say I never found any money in them.
No, you wouldn't.
No, because that's why they've been robbed.
What did you find in them?
You know, you find bits of makeup, and didn't find much where you could say, oh, find where they lived and offer them the bags back. But I used to keep them behind the bar for, you know, just for a couple of weeks in case they came back and said, you know, did you find an handbag?
Did anybody ever come back and say, did you find a handbag?
I think I might have only given a handful out of quite a few back. They probably put them off coming back. I don't know. Or they were a lot more careful the next time.
Stupid question. What's the most amount of handbags you have behind the bar at any one given time?
4, 5. Because after so long, I wouldn't keep them. I just put them in the bin with the rubbish, because they ain't coming for them if they're not back in like a month. They're not coming back, so I'll just bin them.
Right. Thanks for coming, Yemmi. And you're going to read something that Beulah wrote about your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, go
on. Yeah. I didn't want to do a public interview. I'm not really a public person. But my sister Beulah Abiola, as some may have known her as, back in the day, she wrote this, I think shortly after my dad died, but she herself sadly died in July 2013. So I know that she would have really wanted to tell you a lot about my dad if she was here. And she, you know, those that I know she was a really nice, outgoing person. So I just wanted to read it for her, really, and so that my dad's story's heard as well. His name was Chief Philemon Yesus Ayagun Magbowen Magbotiwan. He was born in May 1913. Nearly 100 years ago, 97 and 10 months to be exact, a boy child was born in West Africa in a little village called Okitapupa in Ondo State, Nigeria. His mother was Princess Mimi Moya and her husband, Chief Albert. They took 7 days and nights to give him his name. They threw a party for all the village to welcome him into the world and into their lives. They were very traditional rulers, Mimi Moya and Albert, having a code to live to, honour, faith and unity, and the language they spoke was Yoruba. The land he lived and grew up on was owned by them, passed down from his ancestors. They lived off their land. There were no shops. They would trade cloth, carvings they had made and produce they had grown. He grew up with a wide knowledge of the world. From very early, his mother didn't allow him to go to school. Philemon was her youngest and last child. She kept him close to her. When he had time, he would go and listen to the elders. They would speak about all the current affairs, who had travelled, where they went, what they'd seen, and what new machines they had brought back. That was his education. He said when he was old enough, he wanted to travel. He thought the most natural thing in the world would be to travel and see the world he lived in. When he was old enough, his mother let him go to work in a garage. He's always been mechanically minded and loved his job. He saved hard, then bought his own machine, which he was very proud of, his motorbike. Philemon worked hard for a number of years, making his mother very proud. He left the garage and became a master mechanic on a ship. His first voyage took him to India. There he met a Raj. They became very good friends. When he had to embark, the Raj took a heavy blood-red ruby ring off his finger and gave it to Philemon for luck in his life. His travels took him on to China. He said he'd never seen so many bikes. Before he left, he was approached by an old wise man who said he wanted to tell him something. He told him he was true blood and would walk the length of his life succeeding his dream, making people happy. Philemon travelled to America, where he met Cassius Clay, his hero. He followed Muhammad Ali's boxing career and kept in touch with him. Muhammad Ali visited Philemon at his club, the Reno, and gave him a gold boxing glove with a diamond in the palm to wear on a neck chain. Philemon came to England in 1937. He arrived with 17 and sixpence. He said Manchester was a cold, a smoky, and a place with life-threatening illnesses and very racist. A Polish man gave him a room in his house in Moss Side. He got himself a job in Dunlop's, repairing industrial machines. He saved enough to afford to buy the house, then the one next door. He rented rooms daily and on a weekly basis. People who were famous stayed there. He said this also included Shirley Bassey. Philemon then bought a shop and turned it into a cafe called Phil's on Denmark Road, and also the shop next door, which sold African produce. He would order food and oil from Africa. Then when the ships came in, he would go to the docks in Liverpool and bring it to Manchester. The cafe changed into his first club and African food restaurant, the Rainy City. The music he played was enjoyed to the point where if the club was full, people would dance outside, waiting for someone to come out so they could go in. He then acquired a much bigger space, a cellar under the bookies, 1A Princess Road. There was still hostility towards homeless black people, and he rented the space mainly to seamen. He received an acclamation from Manchester Council for facilitating a refuge for homeless. He succeeded his dreams, working hard, saving and overcoming many obstacles. Philemon opened the Reno, a licensed nightclub. He travelled far and wide to bring the music to the club.
He also had music sent to him from friends he made all over the world for the members to enjoy and be happy. Philemon's cellar club, the Reno, became internationally famous for the music, the community vibe, and of course its proprietor, Chief Philemon, a Yagan Magbowen.
Oh, thank you.